Hey folks, it's me Tara, and today we're going to talk about how Furmeets can help people overcome social anxiety, and by extension how fun they have. Now, as someone that has gotten more active on Furmeets in the UK specifically, I have noticed a couple of things. One, Furmeets are pretty fun and absolutely worth attending. And two, it can help people with social anxiety and or shyness quite well. Many people in the furry fandom tend to say that Furmeets and furry conventions actually help them learn how to socialize more comfortably, but it's usually not explained deeply. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're also going to talk about why that happens, and why these events can act as a surprisingly effective training ground for real-world social confidence. But first, a quick explanation. A Furmeet is usually a small local gathering of furries. People meet up at places like parks, cafes, arcades, or restaurants, or just a building in general. A FurCon, on the other hand, also known as a furry convention, is much larger. It can sometimes have up to hundreds to, depending on the location, thousands of furries gathered in one specific location. These conventions usually include meetups, panels, art shows, dances, games, and charity events. But in today's video, I will talk about Furmeets only, not only because I haven't been to a FurCon yet, as such I can't exactly talk about my experiences on it, but also because they are so extremely large that chances are it's not gonna be good for those who are trying to become more social. It's gonna be a bit too intense. One of the biggest sources of social anxiety is simply not knowing what to talk about. In many social situations, people struggle to find common ground. But at a Furmeet, that's not exactly a big problem, because you already have one. Or two. Everyone there shares an interest in anthropomorphic characters, creative endeavors, storytelling, gaming, and creativity in a general sense. That shared interest acts as a social shortcut, so instead of starting conversations from zero, people can immediately start a conversation by saying something like, "Oh hey, that's a pretty cool fursuit, what's your fursona species?" Or if they see someone with a nice artwork, "Oh hey, did you draw that character? It looks pretty nice." Or, "Is this your first time at the Furmeet as well?" And so on. These kind of very simple shared topic conversations make it much easier to socializing and less intimidating to actually talk to people. Because again, you already have a couple of things in common because you're deaf. Shared interests reduce social pressure very well. And this is also where fursuits come in. Fursuits lower social barriers. Many people report that fursuits help them feel less anxious socially, and psychologically, this does make a good amount of sense. A fursuit works almost like a social mask. It creates a small layer of distance between the person and the interaction. So instead of feeling like people are judging me, it feels more like people are interacting with my character. That shift can make it so much easier to just approach strangers, playfully interact with them, and express your personality. So ironically, wearing a big fluffy carpet can make people feel more comfortable being themselves. Another story I have related to this is when I met a pupwooder at a Furmeet. Now, I would also like to mention that I'm not a pupwooder myself. I'm not into the pup play thing. If you are, good for you, it's just not my thing. But there was a guy there with a pupwood, and eventually he came up to me and asked if we could take a picture together. I was like, "Oh hell yeah, sure, of course." And when he first approached me, I noticed his hands were shaking crazy. For a moment I was a little bit concerned, like, is he having a heart attack or like a medical condition going on? Like, are you okay? I asked him and he said, "Oh, it's just because I'm nervous." And after, talking a little bit more, we eventually started talking about, pupwoods. Like, what is it? What's the whole deal behind it? And I got to find out that pupwoods, because they are so extremely close to your skin, you could at some point just forget that you're even wearing it. It is that close to your skin. So at some point you kind of forget that you're wearing it, hence the social anxiety comes back. Which was a pretty interesting thing that I didn't know was possible. So that was a pretty nice little thing to learn about as well. That was an educational moment for me right there. Another reason Furmeets and furry conventions can help people socialize is that they provide structured environment. Social anxiety often gets worse in places where expectations are unclear. But at a Furmeet, there are usually clear activities like group photos, fur walks, panels, games, art trading, commissioning, artist alleys, and so on and so forth. These activities give people something to do together, and they all know when to go to them, as in when they are going to be available, which naturally leads to conversation. Instead of awkwardly standing around, wandering around about what to say, you're participating in a shared experience. And shared experiences are one of the easiest ways for humans to bond. One important part of overcoming social anxiety is repeated positive experiences. Psychologists will sometimes call this exposure. When someone has a small positive interaction, be it like chatting about someone's persona or simply just joking around in a group activity, it becomes a small social win. And those small wins stack up over time. First, it's talking to one person, then it's talking to a small group. Then you're feeling comfortable at a meet where there are more than a handful of people. Eventually, many people will begin to learn that socialization isn't as scary as their brain makes them think it is. Now, another factor is the culture. Many furry spaces actively encourage friendliness, creativity, acceptance within reason, and respecting personal boundaries, again within reason. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the furry community is perfect for socializing. Like any single group, there will always be at least that one dickhead that is kind of an annoying asshole, but obviously that's not the majority. In general, expectations at most Furmeets is very simple. It's just be welcoming, don't be an asshole. That's about it. That kind of atmosphere makes it much easier for people who normally feel like outsiders to practice social interaction without feeling like they're going to be judged every single second. So while Furmeets might look like just a fun little gathering, and in fairness they kind of are, they can also serve a secondary purpose. For many people, it becomes a place to practice social skills, slowly build confidence, overcome anxiety, and form real friendships. Sometimes the best way to learn something difficult, like socializing, is to simply practice it, where it is safe to practice it. And for a lot of people within the furry fandom, that's exactly what a Furmeet and FurCon by extension is for them. For me personally, a personal example that I can give is... Now, for me personally, it's actually been very helpful in that exact way as well. Now, I don't have social anxiety, thankfully. But I am introverted, and admittedly, the last few months, I did take that introvertedness a bit too far, to the point where I was basically locking myself in my room, which obviously is not the best thing for your mental and physical health. But the problem was that I didn't really have a reason to. You gotta keep in mind, normally I'm in the countryside, in forested areas where I go out to walk a lot, but now, because I am studying, I had to go to Birmingham. And just in case you don't know, Birmingham fucking sucks, that's one. And number two, it's basically a concrete jungle, with the exception of a few areas that are a bit far from me. So, as you can imagine, I had no reason to really go outside. But then I remembered, oh wait a minute, Birmingham does have a Furmeet scene there. Let me join the Discord and Telegram group, let me see what time it's in. And thanks to Furmeets, I've actually had a good reason to get out of that shell, and I was even invited to a house party by a very chill group that at the moment I call friends and acquaintances. They're very chill, very cool people. If you're watching this one, thank you very much for the bolognese, it was absolutely delicious. But also, it's just a great way to get yourself out there and actually talk with people, which was pretty awesome. So it is absolutely helping me become more social. And yeah, that's going to be about it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye.